going to film this in two parts. First, my introduction, telling you that the problem with today's NBA is not the fact that everyone is taking 3-point shots or that it's just not a good product to watch these days, but I can just pretty much tell you that they're forgetting their history. They're forgetting what made them great in the first place, and that comes from the media all the way down to the players. And if anyone's watching this, I think I have the solution, but I want to show you this clip and let me know, well, I'm sure you get your reactions about how this will make you feel back then. Take care.
3 times the Lakers and Celtics have gone to a dramatic 7th game. In 1962 and 66, Bill Russell kept lighting Red Auerbach's cigar. And in 69, the Celtics and Don Nelson kept getting the bounces. And tonight, a new set of heroes waits in the wings. This spectacular series has been an emotional roller coaster. There has been drama, flair, sadness, hustle, exhaustion, aggression, retaliation, and raw anger. For Casey Jones Celtics, they are pointing for a 15th championship banner. For Pat Riley, a title would be the Lakers' 3rd in this decade. So welcome to Boston, a city in waiting, as the Lakers and Celtics come to the Garden to decide the NBA World Championship. The great Bill Russell, who never lost one, said it best of 7th games when he wrote, "You're about to run your guts out in 5 or 6 miles of short, frantic sprints." The president has expressed interest in the outcome. While you're waiting there, shivering in your own sweat, you can literally feel the energy about to be released by the fans in the stands. Perfectly respectable people are getting ready to yell and scream, behaving as they never would anyplace else. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm Brent Musburger.
And I'm back. I wanted to show you that World Championship video for a reason, the intro for a reason. And yes, that's what they used to call the NBA Finals back then, the World Championship, until the NBA Finals was a better marketing tool, at least in that era, and continues on to today. But did you see the story that was being framed? The CBS crew was framing the story, especially Game 7 of that series between the Lakers and the Celtics, which always drew ratings between the Beantown crowd and the LA crowd, right? In fact, your sports pundits who shouted the camera today watched that just as I did back in the days. All I can tell you is that this is what the NBA to me is missing now. It seems to be cold, joyless. I mean, the fans show up, and it's not the fans' fault, but the product itself, you see it. Pre-game, they have people shouting at each other, and then the game is on. You have opinions being tossed about the game and not about the game itself. And it's really not about the game itself. It's about what the opinions are. Really, that the announcers and the analysts seem to be the stars, not the players on the court. Even though the players do miraculous things, as they always do in the game. But that's exactly what I grew up with, and that's exactly what I think the NBA has missed. The soul of that. You know, you saw the framing of the tensions being built up, and that 1984 series was pretty contentious, starting from Game 3. If you know the story, the Lakers were up 2-1. They seemed to pretty much dominate that series had it not been for a mishap in Game 2. they would eventually been up 3-0. But that's just me talking my bias there. But all I can just say is that series, again, it captured the drama, the intrigue. As a fan, even if I weren't a Laker fan or a Celtic fan, I want to watch that game, right? I want to watch the league because not only did they cover the World Championship or the NBA Finals, as they soon call it, but they captured the entire league and framed the stories about the stars of the league, not just who they thought the GOAT was, because we haven't reached that point yet. The NBA, again, experienced a renaissance with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in 1979 after years of being down after this first Celtic dynasty took over and just won most of the titles in the 60s and that's it, the 60s. But I can just tell you that, when I watch current NBA games today, again, it's not about the 3-point shots. I mean, I watched one game where both teams were just jacking up 3-point shots and 3-point shots. And the majority of the shots taken, they missed, which slowed the game down, which really didn't catch my interest, and I happened to turn the game off, right? But I would say that in the era of the golden age of basketball back in the 80s, the style of play was different. The Lakers always had Showtime, which was a fast break oriented offense led by Magic Johnson, and you kick it to the wings. Either James Worthy would catch it, dunk it, or you have Byron Scott kick it out to him and he shoots a 3-point shot. Or you can just, Michael Cooper, who you just kick to him and he would hit a 3-point shot. And they're the Boston Celtics, their style of play. Set up in the post to Robert Parrish. He throws it out to Bird, who can hit a 3-point shot or any shot he wanted. You had Danny Ainge, who had the late and great Dennis Johnson. At one time, Cedric Maxwell hit some shots as well. So yeah, it wasn't, the style of play was interesting because Showtime caught a lot of the attention because of the fast break style, the flamboyance affair, where the announcers always would say that the Celtics were this hard-working team, the team that put on their hard hats and go down low and pound the inside and all that. So you had two different styles, and it made for a great, exciting series because you wonder not about which styles are going to win, but which players are going to come out and become the victors. Will it be Magic or will it be Bird? I don't know. And would it be Kareem? Would it be Parrish? Didn't know, right? So I can just tell that when a lot of the younger guys today, the ones who like to talk a lot, the analysts and analysts turn coaches, talk about the sport and talk about the game today, they really don't understand that the game was all about heart. It was all about dedication. It was all about putting your all into the game. Even the rough play that was there, right? That's why you don't have all these stats for the 80s and 90s, because it wasn't about stats. It was about wins and losses. It was about getting the most rebounds. It was about getting the most points, all that, right? All the little things that added up to winning the championship. And again, we don't have that today. We have stats. We have analysts who talk about how much stats matter, how many points are scored, how many assists, how many of this and that. That leads into a greatness of at least into what you want to get to, which is the playoffs, the championship, all that. It doesn't mean you win a championship. It doesn't mean you all of a sudden are established as the greatest because you have the most passes, right? Or you have the most assists, you have the most shots per game. It leads you to winning a championship, but you have to have teammates who also understand the vision. And again, Magic and Bird have those teammates that understood the mission, understood the vision, and they helped win championships for their teams and for their cities, right? You saw the fans in the old Boston Garden hold up the signs. They were ready. They were pumped up. They were anxious. Before the Patriots took over and captured that city, it was the Celtics. Always the Celtics. and always their dedication to that city and to those fans who really poured heart, sweat, and tears over them. And today's fans now, they're paying 3 times as much just to get into a new arena to support a team that would probably jack up 3-point shots at 3-point shots and, you know, not really play a consistent brand of basketball. But I think, again, this is all about our media. This is all about us as fans. We deserve to have a good game and a great league, right? And today I don't see a great league. I just see a league that's kind of mediocre, that kind of falls back in its past. I mean, when the only thing you can talk about is who is the GOAT between LeBron James and Michael Jordan, and a few other players that deserve that. When you spend your time talking about the GOAT, right, it means that your current style of basketball isn't intriguing enough to talk about Oklahoma City, or you're talking about, let's see, who else? Oklahoma City, Cleveland. Sorry about that. I was going to mention Cleveland. They're having a good year. I mean, those players deserve to be talked about, right? I used to watch At the Half with Pat O'Brien on CBS after it was a halftime show, and they would talk about the game, stats, and all that. But again, it was focused on the game. And that's what it should always be about, the game that you're covering, the game that you're watching. I don't want to hear what the analysts have to say unless it's pertaining to the game, not anything league wide, but pertaining to the game that we're all watching. And sometimes we're just getting away from that. We're just moving away from what we're supposed to be covering and hearing the opinions of analysts talking about whatever. I never heard the late great Tommy Heinsohn, who was a Celtic on the NBA for CBS's coverage, never talked about anything but the game, and never talked about anything but the players in the game. Um, he didn't talk about, Detroit, or he never talked about Atlanta. They had a new coach. They never talked about that. They focused on the game, and I don't see that happening with today's media landscape of covering the NBA. I just see a lot of people throwing opinions out. Doesn't do any good. So anyway, I just thought I'd offer my 2.5 cents. And again, I mean, there's so many other things that's wrong with today's NBA, but I really wanted to show you the way it used to be. And we need to get back to the way it used to be, in which we cover the players, we cover the teams, we make a story out. When we're creating stories, you need to create better stories so that fans will be interested to watch that contest and interested to watch the games. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I would just offer my 2.5 cents to the cup, and I'll let you folks in the comment section determine whether or not I'm right. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You're getting sports take on this channel. I'll probably talk some more as it gets us close to the Super Bowl. But again, thank you for your time, and hope each and every one of you have a good day, a good week, whenever you're watching this. And always in closing, take care.